Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's Just Ask Jay. And I'm super pumped about this week's vlog because of great questions from Val and Laura, Linda and Lauren. And I have to tell you, these questions were so amazing and they all all the categories kind of match, and it's about spirits. And now you see them, now you don't. And I'm going to tell you, I absolutely love these questions. I had to answer them. So thank you so much to everybody who has written in, to Just Ask Jay. And just to let you know, I am still reading some of these questions. And if they're kind of fitting in with the category that I'm talking about, even if the question is old, I may still use it because all your questions are so amazing. Now, I want to let you know, for those who are looking for readings, I don't do readings from this blog. And so if you're looking for a reading, just go over to Join Infinity Fan site, and you're going to want to go to Join the Fan site, to be part of your Message from Spirit, where you can ask for a reading. Now, membership is free, so go join. And in the meantime, I want to start answering these questions. So here I go. Now, Val on August 18th wrote, "Hi Jay, I'm not sure if you can offer some help or insight, but my daughter's been seeing shadow figures and white mist for a while now, and she's terrified of what's going on, and I'm not sure what to do with this or what it means. Can you please help me? Thank you." Now, Val, thanks so much, because that's such an awesome question. I'm going to tell you that straight up, because I get questions like this all the time, where children can see shadows, or even adults can see shadows, but when they go to look at them, they're totally disappeared. So they're usually your peripheral vision. I call them shadow people, of course. I have always believed that shadow people are not a human spirit. They're a little bit different. They may have a head, two arms, a trunk, and two legs, but they don't really have any male or female feature to them. They're usually pretty just plain. You can never see real detail from them. All you could see is that they're darkened. Now, it doesn't mean that it's anything negative, of course. I just believe it's because they don't want to be seen. And when you go to look at one and it's in your peripheral vision and you go to turn around, that they're gone. So they completely disappear. You can never look at one of those straight on. So just to let you know, I believe that there's other energies and other consciousness that surround us. And some people have the ability to see it with the naked eye. Some people can see spirits, some can't. And some people can hear things, some can't. Some people can sense or smell things, some can't. So I believe that your daughter is able to see these things because nobody's really convinced her otherwise. Now, to let you know, Val, white mist is a little bit different. And I've got a couple little tools here to kind of talk about while we're kind of talking about white mist, because I'm sure that you've seen photos or paranormal television shows where they have this manifestation of white mist, or someone will take a photo and there's this white mist in the picture. Now, that white mist is usually sort of like an ectoplasm, but really what it is, it's electromagnetic. It feeds from electromagnetic energy. So let's say if there's like really, really stormy evening outside, there's usually a little bit more energy in the air. And so it can kind of manifest itself. Sometimes it will use different sources. Spirits will do that, to use different sources to manifest themselves. So a lot of electrical energy. So microwave ovens, when they're on, they emit a lot of EMF. And so if I'm looking at this, I have an EMF meter here, and I'm going to turn it on. The button is broken here, just because it was just a light piece of plastic. But right now, there's no EMF coming from this. But if I were to get a source, such as a telephone, and I should have had this ready. If I put the telephone here, you can see the EMF meter starting to kind of read the energy from this telephone. The telephone is emitting an electromagnetic energy, and so you can see the green lights, some of the yellow lights going off. Usually when you put it closer to an energy source, just like this here, or the battery source, you're going to see that the EMF meters coming on. So they usually draw energy from these types of sources. And so if they're very strong, such as this telephone's not very strong, but a microwave oven has strong EMF. An electrical panel may produce a lot of EMF. One of those hydrometers, the round ones, if you go outside with one of these, will produce a lot of EMF. And cell phones, actually, if cell phones produce tons of EMF, you can see it. And there's all kinds of studies about EMF and how it affects us, physically speaking. But when EMF is really high, you tend to feel spirits a little bit more, or you tend to see them. And so the white mist, maybe there's a lot of energy in the area in which she's inhabiting. So she's sleeping and she's close to an electrical source, which has a lot of maybe plugins into it, or I don't know, broken wires in the walls, or that kind of thing, or there's like an electrical room right outside the door type thing. You know what I'm saying? Then that mist could be present, or she's able to see it with the naked eye. And so that's just very, very possible for that to happen. I would, Val, right away eliminate some of these sources of possible EMF leak. And EMF, this meter here, it's a K2 meter, and usually about 1.5 to 2 milligauss is human spirit all the way through. Usually 20 plus milligauss, which is a very, very high frequency of EMF. Is usually not good to be exposed to that. Usually if it's really high in a room, I don't feel very good, or if there's something going on, maybe there's a spirit around. But it starts to kind of do these types of, the lights will start to light up. Usually this apparatus will pick up energy at about maybe 6-8 inches. So it is going off. There's probably some equipment in this room that might be triggering this emotion, this response from it. But just to let you know, that's how it reads, EMF. There's also what's called a Mel meter. And this little thing is kind of interesting. This Mel meter, actually records, this one here doesn't have it's kind of lighting on. The newer ones do. But this here will record how much milligauss of energy it picks up. And you can kind of calibrate these things, but it's interesting. This is 0. It's not reading anything, and it's saying that it's 75 degrees in here. And this little thingy at the end here, this little piece of wire, picks up usually temperature, and it picks up electromagnetic static. This one's kind of interesting. I really love this one as well. It's really good at picking up leaks or energy leaks from a wall. So if you're going against a wall and you're seeing the EMF really high, it could be just a bad wire, that kind of thing inside the wall. Now, to let you know how to kind of get rid of that is I would smudge the area with some sage or some cedar. Go look up the practices on the internet. There's all kinds of different things, and use whatever you're comfortable with. You can also invoke archangels for protection, use amethyst, just to kind of keep you a little bit grounded, as well as hematite. But the thing is, I would electrically get rid of those sources if there's a little bit of a little bit of an abundance of that in around her. If you find that it's in the living room in a certain area, use a gauge or look around electrically what's going on there. It could be that maybe the higher the source, the more it's getting her to see these types of things and these types of things to manifest themselves. Now, just to let you know, shadow people and white mist is not dangerous. It's usually it's in the now type of thing that's going on. So it's not residual energy. So I wouldn't think it's a haunting or an attachment. I would think that these mists come about when there's energy that's out there that gives it the power to be able to show itself to her. I would take photos to see if you see orbs, that kind of thing. But I'm going to tell you, you're very protected. So I would not think that she has anything to worry about. I've seen this stuff most of my life. And in all of these years, I've never been hurt, not once by any shadow person, and not once by ever seeing any mist or manifestation of spirits. And I've seen spirits with my eyes, and I've never been hurt by one. So I don't know that life, and I don't know if it's just because I've never experienced that. And I'm not asking for that experience to be negative, of course, but just to let you know, I have met so many people that see the same things that I do that have never been hurt by it. So Val, thank you so much for your question. I'm going to go on to Laura Lee. Now, Laura Lee, how do we see spirits? Can the average Joe, what can the average Joe do to become more tuned into spirit? Thanks a bunch. Now, how do we see spirits? Sometimes we don't. And morally, some people just do not have the ability to see other than what they've seen all their lives. Some people will never see anything, and all of a sudden, boom, they experience something like, oh my God, I just saw a ghost in the bathroom at this old hotel that I was at, and it just disappeared right in front of my eyes, never to see anything again. Some people see light or little flecks of like sparks. I know sometimes I see yellow sparks, white sparks. Sometimes I see darkened orbs with bright lights around them, and I just see them here and there, so I know that they're around. But what can the average Joe do to become more tuned in? Sometimes nothing. Sometimes it's just an experience that's going to happen out of nowhere, and sometimes people just don't have that ability. But let me tell you, I use cameras and different things like that to be able to check out things that I can't see with the naked eye. So for example, even though I'm a medium, sometimes I'm not always privy to being able to see these energies. Sometimes I'll just feel them, or sometimes I'll just know of a memory of theirs and it's like there, it's in my head, I can't get rid of it. And sometimes it's just something I'll taste or something I'll feel around me. But for the most part, if I don't see them, or even if I don't see them in my third eye, you can take a camera and take a photo. Now, cell phones are amazing for that. You have night light on your video. When you're in a dark room and you're shooting that kind of thing, you have to make sure that you don't have any reflective jewelry on, because you have a light shining, and if there's any reflection, it can cast different types of visuals in your video, and you don't want that type of thing to happen. So I go into a very dark room and I'll turn my video on my camera with the night light, and then I hold very still and I just wait to see what happens. Now, with dust particles, you usually see a lot of them, and dust will change direction, will do different things, but orbs are usually around type of unknown articles or objects, so they're alien in nature. I believe that there's human souls or human spirits that do come around. Sometimes you can have quite a few around you, but usually they fly, sometimes they'll stop, they'll get bigger, or they'll pulsate, they'll turn. Sometimes they'll have very visual colors. Sometimes, it's just amazing. You really have to experience it. And I'm going to tell you, you don't have to be a medium or a psychic to see that. Use a cell phone, check it out. When you take photos and you see orbs, usually colorful orbs, usually are much stronger energies, I believe. But when I take photo and I see an orb, oh my God, right away I'm on my computer, Control Plus, and making that picture much larger, because I want to make sure that I'm able to see inside that orb to see if I can capture a face or a likeness of a dog or a cat or something, because you'd be surprised what's inside of those orbs. And I've had so many experiences with clients, with different people for so many years, not, and different types of cameras, but you check it out. It doesn't have to be digital. You can do different things like that. When you enlarge them, you can see different types of energies, and, and it's not to be afraid of it. If it's never hurt you at this point, it probably never will. But, so the average Joe could do that to kind of tune in. You can also use a recorder. And what they have is called EVP sessions. And EVP sessions are when you're sitting down, let's say in a dark room, you're recording. Even if you're doing a video, it will record your voice. But I have a recorder program specifically for EVP sessions. And it's nice because you could see the voice pattern if there's anything coming through and you know you're not talking. So it's interesting, and you could slow them down. You can cut out outside interference and noise to really zone into what's being said, but it's amazing. I've picked up EVP, about 3 years ago, of someone said, "Oh, you look great." And it was so clear. "Oh, you look great." And I still have that recording. It's just amazing. So that's what the average Joe can do, and I hope and everybody has different gifts, Laura Lee, and just to let you know that. But if you're thinking you're an average Joe and you're never going to see anything, you can try those little tricks, and they're kind of interesting. Have fun with it. You never know what you're going to capture on video. So thank you so much for writing in. I'm going to go on to Linda on August 16th. I'd like to know why we see orbs at the moment a pic is taken, and what is their meaning. And I kind of answered that in Laura Lee's question, but I'm going to tell you, Linda, I wanted to add to that, because why do we see orbs? Sometimes they're not orbs. Sometimes they're going to be dust particles. And sometimes you're going to see light anomalies or orbs. Sometimes you're going to see different colored orbs. I think the red and the green and different things like that are usually higher evolved energies around, or energies that come around us quite often. I don't usually see facial patterns in those types of orbs, but I do see patterns, or you'll see sometimes some of the orbs look like watermarks, or they look like different types of things like that. What is their meaning, or why is it there? I believe that we have between 200 to 500 energies that come to visit us at any given time. And the thing is, we go to hospitals, we go to funeral homes, we go to restaurants, we go, down, roads where there have been wars and battles. We expose ourselves to different areas and different types of energies. And of course, I believe in residual energy, or that places and areas could really absorb, I guess, memories and different energies. And it's interesting because I remember going to my sister's house, and my sister had told me that she had seen a police officer, and she thought she was having a dream, but she thought she had seen a police officer walk into the living room, look at her while she was having a nap on the couch, and walk right through the wall. And it's amazing because I had the feeling of that, and that there had been a doorway there before, or there had been different things. And I had told her, some premonitions that I'd gotten around that. But, when we dug a little deeper, one of the neighbors that lived up the road had told her that the lady that owned the house there before had Alzheimer's, and her son was a police officer, a motorcycle police officer, and that they had an addition to the house. And so when he would walk in, there was a large porch there before. And when they closed off the porch, they had blocked off that wall. And so I guess there was an existing doorway there, which was kind of interesting. And it's one of the reasons why there was this one area I had seen a leak at, because there used to be a leak at that one area where the chimney was at the doorway. So it's kind of interesting. But why are they around us? Energies are just there. I mean, we live amongst different consciousness, whether we know it or not. We're not alone, trust me. We could live in different consciousness. We experience different consciousness even in our awareness states. So in other words, when we have dreams and when we're sleeping, we have a different consciousness altogether. We're in a subconscious state when we're sleeping, but we're consciously aware that we've given ourselves permission to go lay down at night. And so we even experience different consciousness. And the dream world, I believe, is sort of like the other side, and that we could sort of like go through our dreams to the other side, because it's a different consciousness which lives in the moment and has absolutely no worry, and it doesn't have any awareness like we do here, and no body, no kind of things like that. So why is it that they're here? Is because they're aware that they used to live within our consciousness. Sometimes it's to come and see what we're doing. Sometimes it's because they're connected to us and they just know. They just know what we're doing with our lives. They don't have to come and see what's going on. They are connected. So it's almost like they have awareness of everything that you're doing, but they don't take any emotional stride to it. What's the meaning of it? It's just that I believe that cameras and videotapes and different things like that could capture these types of energies that we possibly can't see with the naked eye. So I think that kind of answers between Laura Lee and Linda that question. But I want to thank you so much for that, because why is it there and what's the meaning of it? Sometimes we may not even know that. Maybe they're just observing us, like Val had talked about. These dark shadows around, or these white mists that try to manifest themselves. So very, very interesting topic. I could talk all day about it. Lauren, I want to thank you so much for writing in. And her question was, can spirits be in one place? Hang on a second. Can spirits be in more? I can't talk today. Be in more than one place at a time, like present with me, also another family member, or in a different physical location at the exact same time? And I say, absolutely. I believe that spirit is just pure energy. There's no male, there's no female on the other side. Before we come into being, we didn't have a body. We were born of a mother. We were created from mother and father. And before we come into being, I believe that we choose our life paths and exactly what it is that we're here to learn. And what we do learn, we experience it physically, mentally, emotionally, that kind of thing. Now, when we're talking about spirits, when we go back into that spiritual realm, dying is like an instant. You are on the other side right away. And it's not like there's an elevator that takes 20 freaking minutes to get there. You are there. That's it. That's all. Heaven is here. The other side, whatever you want to call it, is right in front of you. So there's an instant transformation. It takes a little while for the spirit to be able to be comfortable, have an orientation period where it realizes, oh my God, I'm not just in a dream world anymore. I'm actually gone. I've died, and I'm away now from the physical aspect of my being. So there's an instant, I guess, acceptance of that. Of course, they're always euphoric on the other side, but the spirit is much like the sunshine. If you thought of the sun, there's only one sun, but you can be in California, I can be in Sudbury, Ontario, someone else could be in Vancouver, someone else could be in Australia, whatever. But if the sun's shining, it doesn't shine just for me, it shines for everybody. So I say that spirits are like that. They have the ability to be in a million places with one thought, and they're able to control every aspect of those thoughts. It's like being like a million different people, energies all at once. And so I could be with my mom and dad at the same time. If I was passed away, I'd be able to be with my son, with my grandkids. I'd be able to be in France, in England. I'd be able to be in California. I'd be able to do whatever I want with that energy. And it's just amazing. And the higher evolved that energy is, the stronger it is. And it has purpose on the other side as well. So trust me, there's purpose to every single being here, even though you're not aware of it. But Lauren, I thought your question was so great because, it's something I talk about a lot. A soul is sort of like a multifaceted being, like a diamond. There are so many millions of facets to it, and it shines so brightly, but it can resonate so beautifully everywhere. And so, yeah, I've done readings where I've told people what they're doing at several times. I had a lady come to see me and I said, I can't start recording just yet. And she said, why? I said, because your daughter's about to call you and I think she's at the hospital. And she goes, what are you talking about? I said, well, your husband's here, but your husband's with your daughter at the hospital. And she says, that's crazy, Jay. She says, I dropped her off at Emerge before coming here. But I could sense that because I felt that soul was there. and with us at the same time. It's just amazing. But I want to tell you guys, you are so amazing for asking all these questions. I can't wait for next week's vlog. I'm already going to snoop at some of your questions, so go check it out. Just Ask Jay. Some of the questions there I have already started answering. And just to let you know, if you're looking for a reading, mosey on over to, your message from Spirit at My Infinity Family here at Medium J Lane, and just join the fan club and become a free member, and start asking for messages from the other side. I want to thank you so much for your time. I love you all so much, and tune in to next week's Just Ask Jay. I can't wait to see all your questions. I love you. Bye bye.